Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Say More podcast with Lauralie and Phoebe Hagen. Very excited to have you
Hello.
back. How have you been this week, my girl?
Hello, hello. I am so happy that we're doing it because I miss our podcast. Like when we're not
I
on
know.
schedule, I miss it. But no, it's been good. It's been good. How's your week been?
Oh my! I will apologize in advance if anyone can feel my like tiredness because I'm so tired. I'm not gonna lie. I took like two flights in the last like 24. Well, yeah, in the last like 24 hours, like back to back. Yeah. So like,
Wait, did you just
obviously,
got back?
yeah, I got back. Well, I got back yesterday. Um, so I got back yesterday, obviously back in Dubai now, which is great. But obviously, I'm like, oh my god, I'm exhausted. And I tried to get, when you try and get like, right, I'm gonna get straight back into schedule, back on it straight away. And I'm kind of like, I wish I just took today a bit slower because like now I'm like, oh my god, I'm tired, and I'm just worried that that's going to seep in through the rest of the week. But no, I've been good. Obviously, the UK trip was amazing. Obviously, went to Spain as well for this last weekend, which was insane. I love Spain. I love Alicante. Like it's so much fun. It's that's a place I would want to retire to. Like honestly, because it's like when it's like old town. There's like old streets and like just it's just such a vibe. So I was like, I'm going to retire here. Like me and Max have both said, like we're going to retire here one day. Like it's a thing. We're going to definitely do it.
I
But no, things have been
love
good.
that for you. I've heard so many great things about Spain and just the lifestyle. They have their little like siesta and just
So
a
we were
different.
there. We were there when it was going on randomly, and it was so cool. Like they were in the streets
Really?
dancing. To be fair, it was a bit hectic because obviously they shut the streets down, so we couldn't get like a taxi to the airport like straight away, and we were like panicking that we were going to miss our flight. But it was still very good. It was really really fun. But
Um,
yeah, I love it. Such a vibe. Such a vibe. That was
and
my highlight of the week.
how has it been to travel and kind of being in prep? Like, do you consider yourself in prep yet or no?
I mean, I'm trying to flip the switch now, yeah, because I feel like 20 weeks. The thing is, I don't know why. I feel like 20 weeks is such a long time, but it comes around so fast,
Yeah.
so fast. And then all of a sudden, oh, 15 weeks, oh, 10 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God, where did all this time go? So I'm kind of like flipping the switch, like, right, okay, let's try and like get into a good routine with everything. Like, make sure that we're weighing out all our meals, making sure that we're on time with meals, got cardio in certain times. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of like getting into that prep routine where you have the more structure versus having
Hmm.
less. It's so early though, but I feel like I'm just like I always get worried for me, and I know that's obviously like not like I think a lot of people get worried about like, oh, I want to make sure I'm ready in time, this that the other, and I always end up running at being early, but I'm always like I'd rather just be ahead in a way, which is funny because obviously speaking about it a few weeks ago, obviously I was like, no, I'm in like off season, I'm like feeling like nice and good, but I think now I just mentally I feel like I'm ready to kind of be like, right, let's go in, you
Yeah.
know?
That I
So
mean that's perfect. Like if your mindset is there, like that's all you need.
yeah.
And there's a lot of people that have already started. Like I think 20 weeks out, like that's where I started like seeing posts and stuff of people starting.
Yeah.
So I think it's just getting common now, and it's so weird because I feel like everyone is going to be rested and everyone is kind of like in the same boat right now. I
Yeah.
don't know, it's maybe in my perception, but I
No,
feel that
I
now people
agree.
are getting more excited. Like it's more, it feels more normal because back in the days, like the Olympia always has been in September.
Yeah.
So now it's back in November. Thankfully, so it's back in
Yeah.
November. So we have like 2 more months to prep, but we're still gonna have like our holidays and all this stuff. But no, 20
Yeah.
weeks, babe, it's fine. And as long as you feel ready and excited, I think you need like the excitement, I think that's
Yeah.
needed. And when you're there, you just like thrive on that wave and that momentum. So no, happy prep, Phoebe.
I'm
Welcome, welcome.
excited. I'm excited.
Yeah.
How about you? What are you, because I know you said on your story that you were potentially obviously going into, I don't know if you said prep or not. I couldn't remember if you said prep or not. Are you thinking about going on meal plan, or what are your plans obviously now and stuff like that?
So for people that are listening and they haven't listened to past podcasts or like they're not familiar with me, when I'm off season, I think completely off. So food scale is out of my house, weight scale is out of my house. I'm trying to get back on my intuitive eating and all these things. The last 2 months, I've went back on, body work. Now last week, now last week, please apologize. Now last week, I got my blood work done on Friday, and then I'm
Good.
going to get the results on Friday.
Nice.
So once I have that, like these little things for me is slowly getting into the routine of things. But it's going to be a slow process. And normally I'm a switch on, switch off type of gal. But now I'm really looking forward to get back into prep and just prep for the Olympia, because I just feel closer to my goal now. You know how I always said, like, obviously we all are there to win and like be Miss
Yeah.
Olympia, but I feel closer now. Like I feel like I know more what they want. I feel more confident about my body, and what I achieved the past 2 years have really helped me to like make me settle. So
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
normally, I
Like,
think in the past, I would have looked at everybody getting ready 20 weeks out. I would call Kim and be like, okay, let's go. But right now, I just like, no, it's like I'm on my own time, my own schedule. It's my own body. It's my own prep. I'm going to do exactly like I wanted to do. And I still have, 2 trips that I'm doing for work too.
nice.
It's for work, but until then I won't flip the switch per se. But
Yeah.
slowly, getting back to food scale, making sure that I have my protein intake, then going back to a more like regimented split training schedule. Right now I train like maybe 4 times a week, 5 times, barely no cardio at all, like, just outside and doing movement or whatever.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what my weight is. I haven't weighed myself. Like, I think the last time we spoke on here, and I was like
Yeah.
156, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's not
yeah, I feel
bad.
good though.
Again, I think that's good as well, because again, we've spoken about this many a time before, where it's the way that we look at kind of this is like not taking time off, but just being rested. And
Mhm.
obviously, we've done this for a very long time, and like we know what our body needs and what we can do with the body and how far we can go and all that type of thing. So I feel like for us, it's more a mental reset, because obviously we do go in prep. And I just think in general, prep is something that you do need to recover hard from. So I think we do take this time period to just rest, recover, make sure that our mental state is good before then going
Right.
into a prep. I mean, this will be great for you as well, because obviously, last year you did Arnold's, New York, and Pittsburgh. So you finished the end of May, right? Didn't you? End of May?
I didn't do that, was like the year before, but I went all the way from like I did like I don't want I can't
Last
even
year.
like remember. So 2 years ago, like let's say I started 2 years ago, like February 2021.
Uh huh.
That's when I first started prepping for shows, and then I was Chicago, and then I did temporary. Like I went
Yes.
and I did three
Got it.
Arnolds back to back, basically, because I never really stopped, because I went from Arnold Olympia. When the schedule was like all messed up
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
too.
yeah.
So I ended up doing 3 Arnolds in like 2 years. I did
Oh my
two
God, yeah.
Olympias, and it kind of like didn't stop. So, like you said, mentally reset. I'm really enjoying just the mental capacities of being so present and
Yeah.
calm and not anxious. And you know how we get, like if we don't have a good workout, we get that like
Yeah.
you're like angry, and then if your meals are not on time, you don't feel accomplished, and all these things. So I'm trying to just be really heavily present, and I think that's really helpful for me at the moment. And then I'll be flipping the switch, I guess.
Yeah. When the
But
time is
but
ready.
yeah, but softer. But like you said, like if your mindset, you keep yourself posted with Adam. I keep the communication really open with Kim as well.
Yeah.
Um,
It helps.
as long as you don't start your prep nervous, I think if you were to push
Yeah.
it for 12, like you don't, do you feel like you've accomplished your off season goals? Did you had off
Yeah.
season goals?
I
Yeah.
mean, for me, my main thing was kind of pretty much what you obviously just described, was kind of mentally, more mental than physical, but obviously physical as well, like mentally and physically, just recovering from what we did the year prior. Obviously, we did, the Olympia. Well, we did the Arnold's 2022, obviously. Then we had that long break. Then we got ready again, obviously, for the Olympia. And then obviously to Texas. So it just, I think for me, my main thing was obviously just recovering from all of that and making sure mentally I was in a better space. Obviously, because I think after I came out the honors, like we've spoken about before, obviously, if no one's listened or anything like that before, obviously I got an invite to the Arnold's 2023 for this year, and I declined it at 4 weeks out. And that was a good decision, but it was mentally hard for me to recover from, I think, a lot harder than I thought.
Yeah.
So I think just recovering from that just generally for me has been something that I just wanted to make sure that I had fully done before getting into this prep. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think I definitely, I think I definitely have, so I think I feel a lot better with the decision. I'm happy with the decision I made regardless, but when you always like kind of double check or double doubt yourself and you're like, was that the right decision? Should I have done that? Or could I have kept going? Or things like that. I think for me, the mental side of things now is something I recover from more so than the physical, which is crazy to think because you would have thought it'd be the other way around sometimes,
Did you had any physical goals though? Did you had any?
Yeah, like I wanted to make sure that I came back. I mean, not like numbers specifically, because I never say like I want to reach a goal weight or I want to reach a goal like measurement or anything like that. But I just feel I've always said to myself, like in my off season, I want to be happy with the way that I look, like regardless whether it's, it's always going to be bigger. I'm always bigger in my off season and I enjoy that. But I always want to make sure that I appreciate the way that I look in both off season and on season. And I really appreciate that. Like this year, I think I've worn a lot more, like I've gone out a lot more, not just in general. Like I think last year I just didn't go out as much, obviously, because we did the Arnold's prep and stuff like that. But I felt more comfortable going out. Like each year I do become more comfortable in my off-season body just in general. Not that I don't feel comfortable with it anyway, but when you're just like, I'm bigger, like you just have that kind of like switch on all the time where it's like, I am bigger than I usually am, but I'm okay with that, I like filling out a pair of leggings. I like filling out a pair of like, trousers and other things, like it just feels good for me. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm really, really happy with how my off season's gone, and I'm excited to kind of see the improvements we made because I do feel like we have made them. Because I feel like both of our feedbacks were very similar for what they wanted from us at the Olympia. It was like just fuller conditioning was, a little bit too much, but obviously kind of similar conditioning, but just fuller. And I was like, okay, let's go. So I know training's been going good.
Which I think anyone who knows us would be surprised because we're pretty tall.
Yeah.
We're one of the tallest ones out there. And to me, Phoebe, you're probably one of the most muscular girls. Like you have beautiful muscle, but you're like, I say that with like,
oh yeah, of
I
course.
love that about you. It's like I'm obsessed with your body. Like I see like your back is like all defined. Like your shoulder is so beautiful. So when you got their feedback, it was really clear to us that was it clear to you that it wasn't more muscle that you needed? It just was about fullness and more curve, because I think you and I can get away with being less conditioned, but have more. Our X factor is where the curves are at. The more curvy, quote unquote, we get, the more out of us they get. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Our posing is just 10 times better when we're like a little bit fuller, her face looks nicer, our skin look nicer.
100%.
I
agree with you on that because
better.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you 100% because I feel like at around, like we've spoken about before, I think we both came in pretty quick around the 3 weeks to 4 weeks out, like that end kind of game. We were coming in pretty quick. I mean, I was, you were pretty much, weren't you?
That last week in Vegas was unreal. Like,
really?
My body was in complete shock. Like the weather, just the walking alone from going outside the hotel to see Kim was like a 25-minute walk. Going from humidity to dry, like it's the best case scenario. Like for any bodybuilder, going from a humid weather to a dry weather right away.
You drop. Yeah.
It's like the best case scenario, but not for someone who has been ready for like 6 weeks and like struggles to keep the weight. And
Yeah.
I don't want to eat too much food, because if I start eating too much food, then it's a shit show to like fill me out and keep me full,
Yeah.
because I run through like so much food, and then the waist, you never know
Yeah.
how the waist is going to go, and my sleep was off. Oh my god. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, like you said, it was like the last 3 weeks, me like that last week when I traveled over in Vegas. Normally I go for a week, and I went for 10, and still my body couldn't accommodate the weather.
Yeah.
It
Fuck.
was
I mean,
crazy.
it's
But now it's
tough.
in my backyard.
Yeah, and now you're like, okay, it's fine. We're in Florida. We don't have to kind of like climatize or anything, which is so good. And I'm to be fair, I'm excited for it to be in Florida as well, because like I really like Florida, and I think I when it happened, when was the one that it happened in Florida last time? Was that 2021?
Yes.
Yeah, that looks really good. Like the stage was, I looked big. I don't know if it was, but it looks huge. So like it was really cool to watch. So I'm like, I'm excited to kind of see that again.
Yeah, no, it was really fun because it's so easy to get around. I think you
Yeah,
rent a car, there's a bunch of hotels with kitchen really close to the venue,
that's so
but you can
good.
drive. And people are it's like the Arnold a little bit. You know how people are
Yeah,
get together. It's very easy to get around because people know that Mr.
how
Olympia is
to.
in town. And it's not because Orlando is small, but because it's a convention center and all around the restaurants and stuff. Oh my god, girl, we're
Yeah,
gonna have so much
yeah.
fun. I
I
cannot
I
wait.
can see
I
I can
cannot
see the
wait.
like excitedness in your eyes. You're literally like, I cannot wait. It's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait.
Oh
It's
my
gonna be
god,
so
the
fun.
little like food spot. We can go to the what? How do you call the big thing that goes around?
Oh,
It's
Universal.
I
Is it
mean, there's
Universal?
Universal too, but there's a walking distance. You can go on how does it call the big thing that goes around? It's like
I have
a
no
you
clue.
you sit in there, and it's like, no, it's like a big. There's one in
Is that
Vegas
what, a
too.
ride?
Yeah.
I
Oh
have
my
no
god,
clue.
why do I have it? It's like a big circle. Hold on, I'm gonna Google it and show it to you, and then you
I'm like,
can.
I have no clue what you're talking about at all.
We're
I'm
gonna
not
have
from there.
so much fun, and
I know, I'm so excited.
yeah. So, do you want to get into the subject? We're already 18
Oh
minutes
god, yeah.
deep.
I love how, but I kind of like our little chats before. Oh, like a Ferris wheel type thing.
Very well. Oh my god,
That's
my
so.
English right now.
That's so
Yes,
funny.
there's a
No,
Ferris wheel. So, like
that's
after
so
the
cool.
show, we can go out, eat at BJ's. After that, we can just go on the
Yes.
little, like it's not clubs and everything. It's not that scene,
No.
but I love it because
Oh,
you
that's
have the
fun
gala
though.
anyway. You know, after the Olympia,
Yeah.
like I always want to go to the gala. The gala is fun, and you get to like dress up. And after that, I'm just tired, girl. I just want to
I
go to
know.
bed. And
I saw like
normally
for the
we
Olympia. There you go.
no go.
The Olympia last year, obviously, I don't know if you went out or not. I was going to, and I was like, I'm so tired. I went to the gala, and then I was like, it's already like 12 something. I was like, I'm so tired. I'm gonna go to bed. I was so done by that
Oh,
time.
I so we went back to our hotel, Aldo and I, and then it was already so late. And then I changed, and it was cold. I still went to the gala. Everybody was already gone, and it was only Juan Morel and Karen from my
No
cookie dealer.
way.
So they were there. We were already like kind of drunk, kind of a little drunk. Sorry, Karen. And then they're like, no, let's go out. And I was like, okay, let me go see if Aldo feels better because he was getting sick. So I went
Oh.
there. Aldo felt a little bit better, but we went to like a casino. We walked around a casino. We got like, I think a drink, and then we
Mm.
went back to bed. It was so random.
Yeah, you're
It
like,
was, it wasn't it. Yeah. No,
no.
Orlando is gonna be like better because everything is in the hotel.
I
You
think
can
that's
just
what I
walk
wanted. I
everywhere.
think when we went to the gala, there was people there. But like, I think I went quite early as well. There were people there, and obviously there was quite a few people. But I was like, I want to see everyone. I was like, I want to see all the girls and all that type of thing. Like,
Get
so
there early.
we're not early. I think I got there at like, oh God, what time did I get there? I think it was like at 10, 10:30.
Did you
You must
shower?
have, no, no. I literally just put on some clothes and I went straight away. Yeah, I know. I should have just gone straight away. I didn't want like it to be like because it was like a scheduled thing. This is my first Olympia. I was like, I don't know if I had to get there on time or whatever. So.
Oh, you thought it was a scheduled thing because there's a time on
I
it.
don't know.
Phoebe, I want to hug you so much right now.
So I got there
Okay.
and obviously everyone was already there. So I was like, oh my God, but I don't know if we were late or whatever, but yeah, it was good. It was nice. The food was really good. And yeah, that was pretty much it. It was nice. We sat with
What did they
Daraja and
have
her
for food?
husband. Fuck, I can't remember. There was like salmon. There was loads of baked things. It was nice, like wholesome food. Do you know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
like salmon. They had like chicken thighs, with loads of like seasoning and sauce and stuff like that. I think there was a few steaks, and then like potatoes and stuff. It was quite clean, but like good food.
Did,
I say clean.
did
It was wholesome food, but like it was good. It was nice.
did they have the ice cream bar?
No, they didn't. I was like, oh, I wanted an ice because someone told me about the ice cream bar last year, and I was like, I want an ice cream bar, but no,
Yeah,
I
I
can't
mean,
even
we're
remember
probably
what
gonna
desserts
have
there
it
were.
this year.
That would be good. Right, should we get into the subject for this week's topic? So today we're going to be talking about our first times. So we asked you guys on Instagram. I mean, we did the biggest X thing, and so many people loved it. So we kind of did like
It
a
was
first,
fun.
our first times. And we've got kind of a lot of well, I say a lot, a few first times to kind of go through, and we'll kind of go in depth with a few of them. Really kind of go in depth. So the first one is, what was your first gym experience? So what was your first gym experience? How old were you as well?
Oh my God, it's so boring. My first gym experience, I was 17 years old. It was November 11th, the
Oh
date.
my God, I
Exactly.
love you remember the date.
I
On
took
November 11th,
myself
2000 and
to the
something.
bank. Girl, I took myself to the bank. I cashed out $250. I went there for the first time, never stepped really in a gym before. And I bought a full year membership and I was like, I'm committed to this thing. And
Oh,
that was my first experience. And then this gym had little women's only room. That was my little room
oh,
that
I
I was
love
going.
that.
And I would go in the morning, do my cardio and abs or cardio and calves. And I would alternate, like every other morning, I would do either abs or calves with cardio. And then I would go back at nighttime for weight lift. And I started like a bro split very quickly, the first thing. Yeah.
Oh my God. And you said you were 17 years old?
Hmm.
Oh my God. And then how did you kind of like feel when you kind of first did your like first session? Like what did you like do? You were like, oh my God, I love this, or were you like, this is hard, or like what did you feel? Like I know you can't remember massively, but what do
I
you
can't
remember
I
from it?
can't remember. I was just like, I think I just treated it as like a jujitsu practice, or like a soccer practice. It was just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, I just need to get this in and need to get this out. Like I understood
Hmm.
a training split and I was reading a lot of like bodybuilding.com and I would
Oh
just
my God,
take a
same.
program out of there and do the program and just do exactly what's on there. But I started really quick feeling things where they were supposed to be felt.
That's good.
I remember I would be like, oh, okay, if I do like if I bend a little bit my knees on on a good morning, I feel it more in my glutes and I would like venture that way. So I think that's what kept me interested because I was finding and owning my body and I was like, okay, like if I do this, like that's what happens. And I started having fun with that.
That's good. I mean, that's really good that already, like your first kind of session, you were like, you're very like aware of like how everything felt versus it being like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever. I was completely different. I kind of like was just doing whatever so my sister was into rugby at the time. Yeah, so she loves rugby, and
That's so
she did
crazy.
a lot of, I know, she did a lot of training sessions and stuff, obviously for part of rugby. So then she took me to the gym and she was like, oh, come to the gym, and like, because I did cheer at the time, so I did cheer for 8 years, but I'd never really stepped into like a gym before. So like I used cheer as pretty much my exercise really. So I didn't really like need a gym membership per se for me. But then I was like, oh, I want to like get stronger and like, be able to lift heavier and like lift the girls up and be stronger and stuff for cheer. So I was like, oh, let's go to the gym. So my sister was like, okay, I'll take you. Which is hilarious because she's 2 years younger than me. So she took me to the gym. I don't know. I think I was like 18 or so. It's 17, 18. So obviously she was like however old and she was taking me to the gym. So, yeah, I specifically remember being on the Smith machine with, you know, like the neck pad. Well, it's not a neck pad, but like the pad on the neck, on the neck, literally like 10 kilos aside, like barely going to the bottom, being like, oh, this is so hard.
Oh,
Like struggling, you know, doing like 20, 25 reps or something stupid like that. I mean, not stupid, but obviously that's a lot of just like reps all at once. And then do you know those sandbags, like the heavy sandbags? I remember doing like side lunges with that on like the back of my neck. Like side
that's
lunges,
pretty good.
I mean, it
Man,
was
I
like a 10
remember the side
kilo.
lunges.
Yeah. Like the side
These are good.
lunge and like barely going all the way down. It was very uncomfortable and I didn't know how to do it. But I'd see someone on bodybuilding.com do it. So I was going to do it. So, I mean, yeah. And that was my first gym, like proper gym experience. That was like a commercial gym as well. So that was before I'd even thought about weightlifting, bodybuilding, anything. Like I was just like, it was just cheer based for me. So I was like, I just want to get stronger for cheer. And then as time goes on, I kind of then went to the gym next door, which was a bodybuilding gym. Shout out to South Coast Gym, and that's where I met Max. Literally a few months in, and then yeah, the rest was history. And that was my first gym experience.
That is crazy.
I know.
I remember once I told a woman, I asked a woman that was a trainer there because there was like trainer walking around, and I was like, "Hi, I'm trying to get rid of the hump that I have behind my leg," and she was like, "You cannot
what, like
get rid
what?
of
Your
that.
hamstrings?
It's a muscle, and it's called the hamstrings." I was like, "Oh, really?" I think it got developed from like I was doing a lot of skiing and a lot of like soccer.
Yeah.
And she started laughing. She was like, "But you can't. Like, this is a muscle." And nowadays, funny story, like coming full circle, today, I just want my hamstring to drop. I'm like, I just want this thing to be like so heavy. I want to sit on a chair and have my hamstring just be like hanging, like 2 biceps.
Yeah,
That's my dream.
That's so funny though. That's so funny. Obviously, again, the thing is as well, because we go in there with no knowledge. I think, especially when we first started our fitness journeys, there was a lot less knowledge than there is now. Like now, you could be a
I know.
complete first timer and know so much, like so much, almost too much in a way. You know,
too much for your own good. Because
yeah.
I think me being able to tune out all the noise, which was just bodybuilding.com, but really it just gave me that open door to then be confident enough to try with my own body, like try to discover my own body, like how it felt when I do this, when I do that, without injuring myself. Like thankfully so, I was able to do that. But I'm a firm believer that I am where I am today, and I'm sure you can say that the same, because we didn't have social media and we have limited access to information. So we were our own lab rats, and then we would get to science to understand instead of going to science to understand and then trying to apply.
Yeah.
I think
it was kind
different.
of like a trial and error. It was trial and error for both of us, obviously, like, which I think is very good. And I still think that's very good for a lot of people to do now versus like, oh, try this exercise, like, and see if it works for you versus just being like, okay, this guy told me I only need to do this to grow my glutes. I'm only going to do this, you know, like that's not the way building muscle, getting leaner, I feel works for everyone. Everyone's so different and you have to try and experiment and find different ways. For sure.
You need to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Be very patient with yourself and start with a freaking basic.
100%.
Don't
100%
go
agree on
like,
that.
yeah, there's nothing right or wrong either with bodybuilding. Like none of us know, oh, if we only did split machine squat on our leg day, that's what would have happened. I stick to movement that I know works for me very well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a preacher for form. I'm like, form is everything. Form is going to prevent you from injuries.
Mm-hmm.
You can do progressive overload once you're set in your form. So I've just learned to train smarter, not harder. But I think now there's a lot of conflict with just ego.
Yeah, I get you on that. I agree on that. And I think, like you said, going and making sure things are basic first, then you can level up to different movements, different things, all that type of thing. Once you get like good mind muscle connection, all those things. I think it's so important to start with
Yeah.
not
Depending
nothing
on your
essentially,
goal.
but basics. Yeah, yeah.
Depend on your goal for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So next one is your first prep slash diet experience. So like, what was your first? I guess we could kind of do those in two things because I mean, I did. I was trying to remember this, like whether or not I'd actually dieted before away from prep, like when I was younger, like before I even started bodybuilding, and I can't
Did
actually
you?
really, I can't remember. Like, I don't think I did, if I'm honest, because I've always been the type of person that I was just like, I remember being at cheer and a few girls would be like eating like their salads and stuff before show. There was a few of us literally scoffing down pizzas and like chips and stuff because we were like, we don't care. Because obviously we had to wear like crop tops for our uniforms and stuff. Not all the time, but we had crop tops and stuff as time went on. And I think we obviously wanted our abs to be popping and stuff like that, but I just didn't care. I was like, I'm gonna have pizza and I'm gonna have chips the night before my show and go from there. I can't remember. I generally can't remember. I can remember myself being more conscious about what I ate, as in like, but not being like, I'm going to diet before bodybuilding. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. Like not conscious like in a bad way, but being like, oh, okay, try and maybe not eat like fucking 2 bags of chocolate, maybe eat one instead of two. Because I had such a big appetite when I was younger. And I feel like I could get away with it because my metabolism was quite high. Like I could eat
Yeah.
so much rubbish and get away with it and it was fine. Whereas now I'm like, okay, like definitely not, but it's fine. But also at the same time, equally, I was like, okay, I don't need to be like health conscious. I don't need to be eating this much shit. Let's maybe eat something alternatively. Do you know what I mean? Like not being like an asshole with food, which I think was probably when I started turning like 17, 18, I think. I started being like, okay, let's just be aware of what I eat a little bit more versus just being like, I'll just eat anything, you know? Um, and then, yeah, we kind of just went from there. That was my first diet experience, but my first prep experience was, it's pretty I say the standard, but anyone that kind of was around the bodybuilding era of like, I feel like 2014 to like at least 2017 was just like bro diet, like chicken, broccoli, rice, eggs. That was it. No seasoning, no salt, which is so
Oh my.
bad. I know,
So
so bad. Like anyone hearing that diet, do not copy this diet. Do not ever. It's terrible. Like, oh yes, you can eat chicken and broccoli and whatnot, and that's fine. But for every single meal,
it's
like,
the no salt for me.
yeah, again,
So
this was my first
ignorant.
prep. It was my first prep. It was like salt's gonna make like sodium will make you hold water.
I mean,
Like
girl,
I
shout
know.
out to my
Again,
parents who still thinks that is bad for them.
I know.
So
I know.
it
But it's
happens. It's
hard.
okay.
But it's hard because obviously, you know, when you go to a coach, you trust them and obviously with the information you have because it's something that you're not aware of. So obviously you're like, I'm gonna, you know, trust it wholeheartedly. But then when they give you that and you look back and you're like, oh my God, what the fuck was I doing? Then you're like, okay. But I mean, I'm glad I went through it. I'm glad I went through those because it was so hard. But I feel like now I'm prone to like dieting, not in an easy way. I do feel like prep now is quote unquote easier, more sustainable because I guess I did it like such a hard way. I don't know, but I feel like this is it. Like now I can prep and it's pretty easy for me. Do you know what I mean? Like because it's not the hardest prep I've been through. You know, in a
Girl,
way.
you get some little pasta sauce in your turkey. Like
I
I'm
love,
you're
I
good.
love it.
No, I'm
It's
kidding.
my if I could have that pasta sauce, like, and to be fair, I keep it up until pretty much like almost like 2 weeks out. And the only reason I take it out is just because it's slightly higher calories, but it's like what 50 calories like extra. Like if you have, there's some people that have like 5 monsters, and that's 50 calories. So it's like for me, like it's not a lot. And I've done it in peak week where I've just kept it in just because I'm like, well, there's no need to change it if I'm already ready, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was my first prep experience. Very full on bro diet. And I remember being told I'm not allowed to eat eggs from like 5 weeks out because they're an inflammatory food. So, and they were like, you need to take those out now. So you don't be inflamed, you're not inflamed on show day, which I was like, yep, okay, that's fine. So chicken and broccoli for every single meal, every single meal.
You know,
And it was
chicken and
just,
broccoli are just as inflammatory. Like it's just
yeah, but like it was like there was no seasoning on it, just plain.
yeah.
Like I'm talking plain. I was like, I remember there was being one point where I remember I sat there eating my meal. Oh god, it was so horrible. I actually remember it gives me like chills. Like I was sat there eating my meal. It was so dry. It was so dry and so gross. And I remember gagging, and I was like, I actually can't finish it. I don't. I was like, I didn't finish it because I was like, I'd rather not have food than finish my meal right now. It was so gross. So I'm like, never again. That's why I like my seasonings. I like my sauces. I found what works good for me, and that's how I like it. So, but
And it
yeah,
works.
yeah,
And it works.
exactly. I mean, what
Obviously, a
was
chicken
yours?
and broccoli will work for everybody, but
It's just
depends
it's
what you
just the unenjoyment from it. I feel like,
it's just unnecessary. It's really
yeah,
unnecessary. You get no nutrients from it. You're not going to be healthy. Then there's longevity. If you just want to do it one time, you can step on stage. Anyone can prep you and give you chicken and broccoli to eat for 12
mm,
weeks. And trust me, it's going to work. It has to work. But no, there's a such a better way to do things now and
yeah,
being healthier and yeah, like you said, like sustainable and enjoyable. Like you found what works for you as far as food goes, because I do think that for the most part, that's where the girls are struggling with nutrition, um, more than training
yeah,
and cardio. You don't like cardio though.
yeah. I'm not. I like cardio, but I don't. I do like it when I'm in my little good routine of it. I do like it, but then sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to like sit there and just do it. But I mean, obviously, needs must, right? So it's just a case of getting it done. So it's okay. But I mean, what was your first prep/diet experience?
It's kind of wishy-washy where my memory goes because I had like a mentor there and I also was very knowledgeable already with like food. So whenever I was telling her like, "Hey, this is what I'm eating and stuff," she was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because I was eating like 3 eggs for breakfast with a piece of bread. Like I was already like understanding like how to fuel my body right, and I was like, the egg. There's nothing more perfect. It literally comes out of a little chicken asshole. And it's egg whites and the vitamins in the yolk and the fats, that's how you digest like the protein from the egg whites. Like it comes all together.
Mm.
So I was already like debunking the myth of like egg whites, but now I'm back on my egg whites and it's fine because like you understand you need more protein, of course.
Yeah,
But girl, my first prep, I was barely doing any cardio, barely, because I was a full on ectomorph and I was training already so hard, weightlifting,
that's
that
crazy.
I was just building and building and building, and I was eating like a bodybuilder. So, pasta every
I
day,
love that.
pasta every day. I
That's
I
what
had
dream
no
preps as
seasoning though.
well.
I had no seasoning though, but
But you can
pasta
have
every
pasta by
day.
itself and it feels nice and it's quite nice by
It's
itself.
just yeah. I would oh my god, I would eat pasta every day if I could.
I
Even those brown rice
know.
pasta, no
No
problemos.
problem.
I had
Mm-mm.
that. I had like oils for fats. I had those like crazy breakfast bagels that I was making with like a slice of like cheese and eggs in it, and I would put like some roast beef in it, like a lot of protein, so much protein, and like sticky rice. I was eating like sushi refeeds every week
Oh my
before
god, I'm
babe before the
shocked.
Olympia. Hold on, before the Olympia.
Wait, was this your first
Are you?
Olympia?
Yes. Are you sitting down right now?
Yeah, I'm bracing because I'm gonna be shocked for what you're about to say.
Before my first Olympia, okay, I had probably So the week before, I had a burger refeed, sweet potatoes, and a cheesecake. Okay. Then I then I fly to Vegas, and 2 nights before I start loading, I had probably before the show 10 servings of sweet potato fries from TGI Friday,
Oh my, 10
and I
servings.
yeah, and I took 10 milligrams of creatine before stepping on stage.
Oh my God. And you got, was this the one you got second at for your first one? Oh my God.
So,
That's
girl,
insane.
which like comes full circle to me
Yeah.
placing at the Arnold. That's what happened. If I don't get into my head and I'm able to really know what to do with my body, oh my God. Like it's sometimes it's not, I know Phoebe, like it's crazy how I don't let me know if that happens to you, but I know for a fact when my body needs like orange juice, like when it needs vitamin C. Like I
Yeah.
can
I
call
know what you
Kim and be like,
mean.
Kim, I need just half an orange. And I would go, he's like, okay. He's like, are you like, please don't do that. I'm like, I would not call you if I didn't need it. Like I needed orange. I was like, I remember like being sick. I would call him. I know when my body needs an orange right now. I can't explain to you, but that's what I need. And I would just go. And I ended up like maybe having like a quarter of an orange. I'm like, I sent him a picture. I'm like, I'm fine now. And that was it. I can tell you what my body needs fat. I can tell you my body needs protein. I can tell you what my body needs carbs.
I know what you mean. Like you feel that you're very in tune with your own body because one, you've been doing it a very long time and you kind of know,
Yeah.
like I get that with like carbs and fats, I feel like it's usually like the night before. If you know when you get the like feeling like in prep where I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna be really like I'm gonna drop quite big tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you drop, then I'm like, I feel I'm gonna need more fats today or I'm gonna need more carbs today. Do you know what I mean? Like you get that kind of sixth sense in a way where you're like, I know my body just needs this. It needs to be just a bit more refueled. Otherwise, I'm going to crash. And I think that's really
Yeah.
good that you have that intuitive touch to you so far into your journey because not many people do. They're just like, yep, I'll do whatever your coach says, which again is very good. Like you want to follow coach's plan and stuff. But I think it's good that for your own sake, you know what your body needs as well.
Right. It's really good. And I think I made such a good team with Kim because at the Arnold, when I flew in, for some reason, I did the same protocol. Normally when I fly in, I drink a lot of water and I try not to eat carbs on the plane
Mm,
because it makes me like super bloated. It gives me like just not like a good feeling
mm.
inside the plane. It's a short flight anyway. When I landed, I sent him a check-in, Phoebe. I was like, this is it. Like if I'm showing on stage like this, I'm gonna make a fool of myself. And
No
I
way. Oh, I remember you saying that actually. I remember you telling me. I
I
remember you.
sent him a
Do you know what I remember actually? I remember you coming off stage and I was like, dude, you've got this. Like, you've got this time. And you were like, I think I've got fourth. I was like, no,
oh my
I
god,
remember
I
you. You were
told you
like,
I told that to you too. Like so I told
yeah,
you, I told Aldo. And then
I
Kim was like
remember.
saying things to me and I was not like gasping what
You
he was
went,
saying. Just
yeah.
was like, oh, you did this and that. And I look at Aldo, I'm like, like was like were you guys there when like the guys like
I
I'm
saw it
fourth.
straight away, like straight. But I think when you're on stage, sometimes if you can't see like what's going, because again, you don't know what's going on. Like you don't know sometimes who's next to you or like who you're being swapped with. Sometimes, like if they don't say the name, like or you where your place, and if they do, because they obviously like to kind of move you around a lot as well. So like not always have people like where they need to be and whatever. So sometimes it is so confusing. So I can get that you're like, I've not got this at all. And I was like, dude, you've got this. So, but going back to the body thing, I think that's really good. Again, being so in touch with your body, like that's really good. It's what you need.
Yeah, and when I sent a check-in to Kim, going back to the story
Oh
I was
yeah.
telling you for the Arnold, he told me he's like, eat this and then half a cup of rice, whatever.
Mm.
I was like, Kim, can we not do this? Can we just not eat carbs today at all? He's like, Lauralie. He's like, Lauralie, listen to me. I was like, ugh. And I did. And thankfully I did because I started dropping, Phoebe, I would go to the back, like pee, because my body's like, oh my God, carbs, food, like this is great,
Yeah.
Started peeing like nonstop 10 times. I'm like, Kim, thank
Thank
God you told me
you.
to eat. Because
Mm.
for like when you start peeing, then I would have been so flat. If I start peeing without being fed, it would have been really bad, and
Yeah.
it would have been really hard to just go back to like a fullness. And we were so focused on being fuller,
Mm.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I think that's
you need
good.
yourself, you need your coach, and I think that's why I'm so happy to be where I am right now, state of
Yeah.
mind, because I'm like, wow, Lauralie, when you listen to yourself and you don't get yourself in your own way, that's when you succeed. Because anytime that I followed someone else to a T, it never ended up good for me,
Yeah.
ever.
I think the main thing for both of us, and just you in general, especially, like you've found someone you can work with versus it being like, okay, only, and I think that's just good in general for anyone listening. I think it's good to work with your coach and obviously ask questions, give them what you think as well. That's not being like, oh, I know what I'm doing. That's like, you're curious and like trying to figure this out together versus just blindly following. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's very
Yes.
important. I think that's good that you found your coach, your person, and all that type of thing. Okay, next one was first time you and Lauralie met, which I think it was only in 2021 that we met, but we knew each other before, like before, because we'd never.
No,
No. Tell a lie, tell a lie. I sent you a photo when we actually met. I think it was the Olympia 2019. Yeah,
correct.
go
Good
back.
answer.
I was like, oh
Good
no.
answer.
I was like, no, but we fully probably met at the shoot in Fit Club in for HD, and that was back in the day, which was really cool. And I mean, and we actually, like we said, first met was 2019 Olympia. Was that September? That was September back there, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So September, and then the rest was history. I feel a lot of people have like their internet friends for ages, and they feel like they've known each other for a long time, but they've never actually met. Like I have so many people that I have online that I talk to, but I haven't met them yet, which is crazy.
I know. Who?
So one of them is well for ages it was Daraja. One of them was Daraja for ages, and then
Yeah.
another girl, Masa was another one. Obviously, I've met Masa now. And then a girl called Dimitri. She's another pro in the US. Never met her before.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
pose her, good friends. And like, I talk to her quite often. And I'm like, I've never met you, which is crazy to me. I'm like, what? Like, that makes no sense in my head. I'm like, we talk all the time, but I've never met you before. Like, what? So I
that's
mean,
crazy.
yeah, I feel like it's cool. I love Instagram for that reason, is because you do connect with a lot of people. Like you connect with so many people from all over the world, and you can share your story, and you obviously get to know people and all that type of thing. But it sucks that like you literally tagged me in the story the other day, and I literally went, oh, sad face, because you were like, why do you live so far away? Like literally a million miles away, and I was like, yeah, it sucks. But I'll be with you
So
soon,
far.
hopefully. I
I
know. I'll be with you
know.
soon,
I'm
hopefully.
excited.
Exciting. Okay, so the first time you realized you had potential in bodybuilding? I don't actually know. I'm trying to think.
I don't know. I don't even know if I have one right now.
I know. Like, when was the first
You know what
time
I'm
you
saying?
thought you had potential in bodybuilding? I mean, like, and realized you were good enough for this, and it could have been like your career, I'm guessing they're saying. So I'm like, I mean, low key, I sometimes kind of still don't think I am, which is bad, but in a way, like, I don't think I have reached my full potential yet, in a way, if that makes sense.
That was my first answer. But
Mm,
now that I'm thinking about it, Phoebe, I think when you win a show, that's when you're like, oh, okay, I can be
yeah.
good at this thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I think,
it
yeah.
sucks to say that because I wish I had a better answer for you, but we started so young and we're so
Mm,
looking for ourselves that when we find something that we're good at, it just makes sense for us to pursue that
yeah.
because we get validated with that.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, it's weird. This answer, when I was kind of like looking at the answers, like the questions and stuff, I was like, I don't know how to answer this because I'm kind of like, one, I feel like I haven't reached my full potential. I feel like everyone is always kind of like, with bodybuilding, there's always more. Do you know what I mean? Like there's always more you can improve on. There's always more that you can do. So I feel like you're constantly chasing that sometimes. So I
Mhm.
think for me, I'm like, I haven't reached my full potential. And I mean, I definitely get like down on myself, not down massively, but I do definitely still get those times where I am doubtful of my own abilities still. So, which I'm working on, I know that, but I do sometimes feel like I don't know how to explain it. Like,
Really?
yeah, kind of like,
Of course. No, no. I'm like, really? And
yeah.
yes, but here, you and I are lucky. Like, I don't know, it's not luck, but we haven't lost a show looking our best. And that's
Yeah.
what keeps me going.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, that makes sense to be fair. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like in bodybuilding, you can reach your potential. Or I think the question is more like, when did you realize you could be good at this type thing? And like you said, was kind of obviously when I started like, because my first show I obviously won. So I was like, oh, maybe I could be good at this. And then obviously straight away I got like below top six or I got the seventh or something like that. So I was like, oh, fuck, maybe I'm not good at this. And then but I kept going anyway. And
Exactly.
I feel like that was probably a point where I'm like, I do have potential because I know I can be better. Like that kind of sparked a little bit of a push in young Phoebe, like getting that kind of drop kick, like, yeah, it was great to win my first show and stuff. And it gave me the confidence to do another one. But then
Yeah.
my ambition and kind of wanting to actually be better in this sport when I got that seventh place, like straight away after, that kind of pushed me to keep going. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then after that, I literally got,
1000%.
yeah. And then after that, I
Because
kept getting
everything,
like top three, top three, top three. So I
like I
feel like your
said,
losses push you harder than the wins. The losses push you harder.
1000%.
Yeah.
If you don't make yourself a victim and you actually go and you ask, hey, how can I be better?
Yeah.
You've done your homework. And now it's
Yeah.
just about you getting that feedback and just work on it. And you need to be honest with yourself. And that's it. I remember at the Olympia, until I went to come and see me. And she was like super devastated for me. And she was expecting me to kind of like, I don't know, I felt like she was expecting me to say, like, I'm going to give
Mm.
up and all these things because I was so
What,
above
this
like
year's
condition and
Olympia?
all this.
This year.
Yes, the one that I finished
Yeah. Last
fifth,
year. Yeah. Yeah. Last year.
right? Because the hype of it, like everything. So I
Yeah.
think she was worried that I would take it really hard and very just hard on myself because they all like the
Yeah.
judges all know me by now how like difficult I am on myself. It's like
Yeah.
it's very terrible, but whatever, we're working on it. So
Yeah.
she came and see me and she was just like very nurturing and just, you know, like she didn't know how to tell me, but you're gonna do it again, right? Like you're gonna compete
Yeah.
again. And I was like, yes, like, oh my God, of course. And to me it was kind of like I'm even more excited that you guys have like are showing that is the standard this year. Like I
Yeah.
cannot be happier with the top four right now. Like that for me is where bikini should be. And I think it has been like a relief for a lot of people because girl, we were conditioned. Like I'm looking back at
Mm.
pictures, like
I know. There's some
all of
pictures I look
us.
back and I'm like, I was like at probably like 4 or 5 weeks out. I was probably where I'd wanted to be on Olympia stage. So, but again, it pushes us to be better. And I feel like
Yes.
you said, don't look at it in a negative way or I'm never going to compete again because I didn't get where I want. I think men are more like that versus women. Obviously, women are like that as well, but I do think
Yeah.
men probably have that kind of, and not, this isn't me like pinpointing men or anything like that, but I've just seen it more. That's all. That's my own experience. I've seen it more where men kind of get a bit more upset that they haven't placed or haven't won. I feel women are like a little bit more, right, let's go from here, let's move on. I think that's where you have to be. That's kind of the mindset you need. And I think that will help you push on to be better than your best self. And that's the main thing we want to try and do is every time we step on stage. So, but I mean, and that was your first. time you like felt, you know, you had potential, which is cool. That's really, really cool. Okay, so the next one. When was the first time you were truly happy with your shape? That it doesn't say, it just says shape. So it could be like either on stage or off stage. And I mean, if we're talking on stage, I feel like I'm never, which again is really, it's just the bodybuilder in me, I guess. But like, I feel like I'm quote unquote never happy because there's always something to work on. Do you know what I mean? There's always something to change. So as soon as you're like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm really happy with the way that I look on stage, this, that, the other. And then as soon as I get off stage, pictures, this, that, the other. Okay, I need to work on this. And then you're like, okay, cool. That's not like all you see after, but I feel like then you're like, okay, these are the things I need to work on. And that's all I can see, you know? Um,
Mhm.
but I always say to myself, like before I step on stage, like I have to be happy with the shape I take. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to perform. Do you know what I mean? Like I have to be like, right, I can't change anything now. Like I go for a little like thing in my head, like I can't change anything now. There's nothing I can do. So I'm 100% happy like with what I have right now. Go up there, perform, and get feedback after. Don't even think about like if you know you need to work on something, you know you need to grow your glutes or grow your shoulders or whatever. When you're backstage, it doesn't matter because regardless, you can't change it there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's what I try and tell myself a lot because I used to get in my head so much backstage. Like, I need to grow
Mhm.
this, I need to do this. Oh my God, I need to do this. And then I'd perform, you could see that on stage. Like, I'm worrying, like, oh my God, I need to do
You
this. And you
worry.
just, yeah, you look stressed. You look
Yeah.
stressed. So, I mean, I would say I probably felt like that like 20, I mean, like 2020 backstage, I was kind of like, I was stressing backstage. And I remember Max being like sternly saying to me, like, you can't be like this every time you step on stage. Like he was like, you need to stop doing this, like stressing yourself out because you're not performing. And then that kind of was like the little, okay, I need to just be, I have to accept like what I'm taking on stage,
Yeah.
regardless of what I need to work on. I think that was like the time where I was like, right, just accept what you have and you worked hard for it. You get the feedback after, and that's what you need to work on, you know, versus beating yourself up before being like, oh my God, I still need to work on this. You can't change that. You're backstage. Like all the work's done. You can't do anything else, you know? Um, so yeah, I mean, that's not an actual time frame of when I actually was like my first time I was happy, but I feel like, yeah, that's something very important that you need to kind of do before you step on stage for sure.
That was a good insight. I'm so sad that we do that to ourselves, like
I
worrying, you
know.
know? But I agree with you. Like I c- I think I was really happy with the Olympia 2021 because I
Hmm.
had made major decisions right before that show. Um
Hmm.
to take back the reins of my prep and like starting working with Kim. So to me, the Olympia 2021 was like redemption and just
Yeah.
the start of something great again. And it just proved that like Lauralie, when you're with yourself and you're in tune with good people around you in your environment, like it just works out. And
Mm.
I went from fifth to second with that decision. And I think it showed me how much the mental aspect of the sport, the environment aspect of the sport is so important, if not more,
Mhm.
than just you showing up at your training and for your diet. It's all about
Yeah.
who you have during the last couple days before the show. And
Mm.
I was very happy with Olympia 2021 and really happy doesn't mean satisfied or like the
Yeah.
best, but it was just overall how I see now the physique that I bring. It's also a whole. It's how am I aligning spiritually, physically, mentally? It needs to be all aligned. So I think I'm still working on that right now. I do think this
Yeah.
Olympia is going to be freaking dope, though.
I
I
know.
get
I'm
very
so
excited for
excited
this
for it.
one.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited for it. I think it's going to be so much fun and I'm excited to kind of experience again with my gal beside me and
I'm
all
so
that type of thing.
excited
So I'm
too. I
excited.
just want that to be so much more positive than just
Yeah.
negatively driven because I tend to negatively like um go through my preps and just the more I beat myself up, the better I perform. But it's not the case. Like it's not that way. It's more like I always felt like you needed to suffer in order to earn things.
Yes.
But no,
Yeah.
it's not the
I feel
case.
like that's a very common thing that a lot of people like think though. Like the harder you're pushing, like the harder I work, and work doesn't always necessarily mean suffering. Like the harder I work, the harder I suffer, the more beneficial the prep is going to be, which isn't always the case. It really
Yeah,
isn't.
it's not.
It's working hard. It's working smarter, not harder, sometimes. So, but yeah. Okay, so the first time, when was your first time you've had a bad experience in the gym or an awkward experience in the gym? I mean, mine was like it wasn't anything like terrible, I don't think. Like my first experience, I think, was like a first like quote unquote injury where I was squatting and I was squatting 100 kilos to be fair for two, which
Oh
I
my
was like, I used to
God.
love lifting. I used to lift heavy, but like form wasn't the greatest. So I went up and my back was arched. Like it wasn't massively arched, but it was arched, like in the lower bit to get that last rep in. And I felt it pop. That was quite early days into kind of like, yeah, no, it wasn't really, really bad,
Oh,
but my back was very, very sore for like a few weeks. Like, and I'm talking like I couldn't even bend down. I say sore. Like it was bad. Like it was like it fixed itself and it obviously is fine now, but it was fine in the like next 8 weeks. But it was terrifying and realizing like how bad it can all go like so quickly. Cause I squatted 100 kilos and stuff before, like it wasn't an issue. But like
that's
that just at one
crazy.
time I came up and I was pushing and I was just really, really pushing. And I just felt something click and I was like, oh my God, what was that? Re-racked, felt
Ouch.
fine. Then went on to do another exercise and I was like, oh my God, my back is not okay. I was like, fuck.
Ouch.
So I know. So it was a bit scary, but I mean, it wasn't like a terrible experience. It's obviously it just kind of made me a bit more cautious and make sure that like we said before, form was good. Make sure you're just not lifting just because like I love to just do like 1 rep maxes or like 2 reps for me, like just to see how heavy I could go. I used to love deadlifting. Like I deadlifted all the time. It was so yeah. I got to like
Mm.
150 kilos on deadlift. I don't know how much it is in pounds,
Wow.
but
It's a lot. I
I
just
know
know
it's a
it's a
lot.
lot.
There is no way I can do that now, but I used to love it. And I mean, that's probably why I started like carried on competing because I enjoyed the gym side of it. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't the body for me. It was like
Yes.
I loved training. Like I loved being in the gym. I still do now, but obviously back then it was like a different passion. So it was nice. So I mean, that was my first bad experience. What was yours?
Yeah, that's pretty bad actually, Phoebe.
Yeah,
An
I know.
injury. Yeah. Nothing comes to mind,
I know. There
to
wasn't
be
like
honest.
nothing that kind of like went wrong. Like, did you ever get like, I don't know, have you ever gotten an injury or like, I don't know,
Knock on
someone
wood, like
spoken to you?
the worst injury was I just posed for like an hour, like a week out from the show, and it's just too much for like when you're that
Yeah.
lean and so dry, it's too much. I never tell my like the girls that I pose, I'm like during your peak week, like you do 15 minutes like tops.
Yeah. Try not
Don't
overdo
go
it.
above that. And I sprained
Yeah.
my back like a week before the
Oh.
Olympia, and it was just awful because I couldn't
Oh my God. I
stand up.
remember that. I remember that you were like, I can't pose. Like
It was
you were
so
like,
bad.
wait, was that 2019?
Yes, I think it's 2019. Yeah,
Because I think I remember
no, 220,
being, oh, okay. Okay.
2020. Yeah.
Oh my
Um.
God. Yes. That's
So
hard.
yeah, that was really
Overdoing it is always
bad.
hard.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's it. In the
I mean,
gym,
has there been,
I don't know. I've always been like I don't know the gyms. I think the worst experience for me in the gym is just social anxiety and just having I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know.
like a feeling
I
of
don't.
like not feeling like you want to be around people, like whilst you're training and stuff, or feeling like that type
Oh
of
no,
thing?
it's just there's too many people. It's too many
Yeah.
people, and
Okay.
I can't focus on my own machines. I can't get my training going. I think that might be it. But I never
Yeah.
had like a bad gym experience. No.
I mean, I've had experience where like someone has been like rude to me in the gym or like, um, I said, like, I remember saying this was like back in the day and it wasn't my first experience, but obviously it was like a pretty vivid experience. Like when I was in the gym just lifting, and I think when you uh like when you're using like the dumbbell area and you like have a bench and you've just got the dumbbells like on the bench pretty much, like
Oh,
someone took them and I went, oh sorry, I'm just using, because I think I was turned away or doing something or whatever, and she took them and I was like, oh sorry, I'm using those. And she was like just started kind of like not shouting. It wasn't, and again, it wasn't like, it doesn't sound like, it sounds like bad, but it wasn't that bad. But she started being like just rude. She was like, well, you're not using them. And like I was obviously quite young, like at the time, not young, but like younger at the time. And I was kind of like, okay, like it just took me aback, when you just don't realize it. I was like, oh sorry, I am using those. So like, can I carry on using it? I've only got 2 more sets or whatever I had. And she was
uh-huh.
like, well, you're talking this, that, the other. And like, I was like, well, I'm almost done. Like, you can use them after. And she like walked away, like just like sighing, like rolling her eyes. And I was like, did anyone else just see that? Like, what the fuck? Like, I think like gym etiquette, how do you say it? Oh my God, I can't
Etiquette.
say it.
I don't know, girl.
Yeah, no, I can't say it, but you know what I'm talking about. So
Yes.
that type of thing, I feel like that's kind of sometimes, I think sometimes people get upset with that because obviously that's a very vulnerable experience for them. So I think I kind of was just a bit taken aback. I didn't really care. Like after, I didn't take it anything from it, but sometimes people could be like, oh my God, I can't like, go back or do a gym session again because obviously something like that might happen again. But I think if anything like that does happen to anyone, I think just take it on the chin. That person might have just been having a bad day. They just literally, went at you for no reason and you move on with your day. It was nothing personal. Like it's nothing towards you or anything like that. You just have to move on from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I think I just don't understand how people can be upset in the gym. You know what I'm saying? But I
I
mean,
know.
everybody has their days. I mean, but there's so much like endorphins and stuff. It's hard for me to believe that
I
someone would be like
know.
upset in a gym. But that people, I think now it's how people are annoyed with the tripod, and I get that too. You know?
Yeah, I get that. I think it's hard because I think people get annoyed with people with tripods and stuff, but then like equally people then get annoyed that people walk in front of their tripods, and I'm like, well, people are there to train firstly. So
Yeah,
like obviously if you're filming and they're in the way, you can wait like until they're out of the way or whatever, or just kindly ask them and be like, oh, can you move to the side? Like things like that. I don't think it's fair to like get really annoyed with people unless they're purposely like doing it. Cause you've seen it before where people are like, oh, those tripods are in the way, or like stop doing that, or like done it and they've been caught on camera. And I think that's just a bit rude. But then also I equally understand their annoyedness. I know I understand
yeah.
why they're
No,
annoyed.
I
It's a
get the
weird one.
annoyedness. Yeah, it's just human behaviors. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's
I
I
know.
I I train alone. I'm like, I choose my training partner wisely whenever I train with someone, would be you, would be my brother.
Yeah.
And
No, I get that.
and obviously trying to be like mindful and respectful. I just think that's everywhere though.
Yeah. No, I
But
get
like you
that for
said, gym
sure.
etiquette. Yeah.
So, okay, so then your first, so this one was a weird one. Your first, it says weird competition experience. And I'm guessing they mean kind of like, was there anything that's ever happened that's been weird, like during your show day or anything like that? And I mean, mine was probably the worst experience of my life.
What
I'm probably everyone's
happened?
everyone's worst nightmare. I fainted on stage
No.
in my back pose.
Wait. So
Uh-huh.
you turn into your back pose and then you started feeling dizzy and you just collapse on stage?
So so what happened was this. So this was, and this, the weird thing was obviously it was mine and Adam's first season, our first show together. And I was feeling really good. Like I know. It was so annoying because like everyone was like, Adam's not the right coach for you. And I was like, shut up. It was honestly such an out of the blue moment because we'd been on, more food, less cardio, all that type of thing. Like we drunk so much water that day. So the way that European shows work is usually the pro shows are in like, I mean, not all of them now, but obviously back in the day, it was like pro show was in the evening. So prejudging was in the evening. So it was in like at like 5 o'clock. So it was already a little bit delayed, and it was so hot. I'm telling, like, it was middle of summer and it was backstage. Like, it was ridiculously hot. Like, so
Was it
hot.
outside?
No. It was inside, but like there was barely any aircon. I don't even remember there being aircon, like at all, if I'm honest. So, and I remember there being fans and stuff, and I was really nervous. Like, I remember being backstage and being like, my heart was going because I was quite
Tension. Yeah.
nervous. So I was like, okay, calm yourself down. Like, it's fine. Like, go for it. Like, whatever. Like, it is what, like, whatever happens, happens. Like, all that sort of thing. So went on, did my routine. Cause I think we did routines. No, we did routines first. No, we didn't. We did numerical order first, then routines, then call outs like you usually do. So did that, did all of that. And then I done the numerical order, my routine, and then after my routine, we had to stay on stage. So I don't know if have you ever done that where you've done your routine like for a pro and you've stayed on stage? It's hard. It's so hard. And I was already absolutely boiling. So when I was going into comparisons, got first call outs, it was fine. It was 4 of us, really happy with it. Did my full comparisons, whatever, went back to the side of the stage. Side of the stage, I started feeling like weird. And I was like, I feel really like lightheaded. I was like, I feel really lightheaded all of a sudden. Because we'd pretty much been on stage like for at least 20 minutes by this point, like just holding everything. And I was already nervous and boiling. So I was like, okay, I feel really weird. I was right by side stage. So I just really quickly stepped off. And I was like, I just need some water. And as soon as I stepped off, I literally I can't even remember much at all. And so long story short, went off stage, had some water. And all I remember is hearing my name being called back for like the confirmation, like of the top 4 or whatever. I remember walking out and Max was like, you walked out so weird. Like, he was like, I've never seen you walk out so like you just like dragging your feet. And I was like, really? Got into my front pose and he was like, you hit your front pose completely wrong. Like, you just looked relaxed. And then you did your transition and it was kind of like just, you didn't even care. And then you just went into your back pose and you just fell like completely. And
Oh my
Max
God.
like jumped on stage. Like, he ran, like, it was like a fucking high stage as well. Cause it was like an actual like auditorium stage. I remember he jumped over the gate, he ran on stage and like pretty much just carried me off. Worst experience of my life. So that's probably my weirdest experience. But I know
Phoebe,
you're like,
oh
oh my
my
God, I
God,
can't
my
believe
heart
that.
right now.
I know.
I would have.
Firstly, I went on for the what's it called, awards. I got second, which was great. So still got second, which I was really happy with. But I remember
That's
being
amazing.
backstage. Once it happened, I was like, I want to go back. Like, Max was like, you're not going back on stage. Like, you can't. Like, there's no way. I was like, no, I'm going back on stage. I'm fine. They were like, no, you don't have to go in shoes. And I was like, I'm not going on barefoot, like, to collect my award. I was like, I'm going in my heels. I'll be careful. Like, I'll have some water and like food now. I'm fine. But
Yeah.
that was probably the worst comp experience. And I mean, a lesson to anyone is like, if you do feel obviously off, step off stage. Don't try and hold it and just try and power through, because it's not the best thing to do in that moment. They're not going to tell you off if you step off stage either. Like, if you feel not great or whatever,
Yeah.
you step off stage, you recoup, and then you can kind of go back on. That's my biggest thing for anyone, because I think a lot of people are like, oh my God, like, how did you do it? Like, I don't know, like, yeah. So that's my weirdest comp experience ever. I know. And it was the first show with Adam, and
Girl,
it was so
I
annoying.
cannot beat that at all.
I know. No, it's not a beat experience. It's not to beat. But that's just my experience. It sucked. And it was Tyler judging. He just said, he was like, I know. He was like, just make sure you feel better next time you step on stage. And I was like, yeah. So
I've seen girls faint during makeup and have the makeup artist like do their makeup on the floor. I've seen that before.
Shut up. I've
like
never seen that before.
3 times, at least 3 times easily.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It was like, I was like this every time.
That's
and I'm over
crazy.
here like eating like, yeah, wild. And
you're like, what's mine?
What is mine? I think the most stressful thing could be, oh wait, China.
Okay.
2018. So after the Olympia, so I did Toronto Pro, won that show. Chicago Pro, won that show. Tampa Pro won that show. I did say that already, right?
No, you said Chicago.
So Toronto, Chicago, Tampa
Yeah.
qualified me for the Olympia. Second at the Olympia. Then I went in November, did China, which I won, but that show was outside and the
Shut
power went
up.
off
What? Whilst you're on
during
stage?
awards. Yeah. I have a picture. It was me and Janet and Issa, and I have a picture of us standing on the stage and just like going like this, like because there were no lights.
No
And
way.
and I remember the ceremony being so like we were on the granite outside, like sitting
What, in your
down
heels?
with our heels on the granite. Like it seems so surreal to me now that I'm thinking about it. Like we're in Sanya, China, like the opposite side of the world. There's no makeup artist that could do our makeup because they
Do you know
came
what? I have
in
heard that a few times, like speaking English. Obviously, the language barrier is obviously limited and stuff like that.
very limited with food. It was another story too. Anyway, so basically had to share my foundation to all the girls. We were all the same color in our face.
Oh my God. That's so.
And then we're backstage and there's no bands. We're just outside and sitting on the granite. And that ceremony lasted. It was beautiful, but it lasted so long. So I think the power just
Yeah, it just
fused.
went.
And for the awards, like I think mid comparison or like during the award, like the end,
Yeah.
the power went off, and then that happened.
That's so
So
funny.
yeah, it was just that was funny, and then that's so crazy that it happened. And then China, and then I flew from China to the Philippines, and then did Philippine, and then I finished second, and then that's when I had my whole crisis in my head. When I finished second at that show, Phoebe, I thought I was done. I thought I was like, this is not
Really?
for me. Like, I got sick. Like, I wasn't able to be rational about it,
Yeah.
because I just had beat Janet and now Janet is beating me. I'm like, now I need to like beat Janet, and I'm like, how did I
Yeah.
finish second? Like, I just finished second at the Olympia. Like, I finished first in China. I was like going for straight ones, it was just like first, 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 first. And now after 1 week, I'm finishing second. I lost it. I remember being in the room crying, but like like couldn't
Yeah.
breathe like a kid. I was like, I mean, I was like what, like 19, 20 by the time. I was like so
Yeah.
young. But I thought I was done. And that's when I called Adam on my flight back from the Philippines, and I was like, I need I need to be better. Like I need to be what
Yeah.
they want. And I need to suffer more. I need to like all these things. So that's when I hired Adam. That's when
Oh,
I
yeah.
that's when I hired Adam on the flight going back from the Philippines back home. And then we started prep, and I stopped working.
Oh, you stopped work. You didn't do you just were strictly bodybuilding from that point, weren't you?
Strictly bodybuilding. That's when I flipped the switch. I was like, if I'm doing this, I'm doing it properly.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm never
That's so
finishing second
cool.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that that's
That's
the
amazing to
experience
kind
that
of
I
think
had.
that. That's a cool experience though. That's kind of like it's a funny and cool experience. You know what I mean? Like it's and it also kind of makes you like appreciate those moments and stuff. Like at the time, yes, it was probably stressful and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? But equally you
Yeah.
look back and you're like, that was so funny. Like it was just a fun time. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God, we
So
had such a good time. Oh my God, I miss the girl. I can only imagine you and I, like if we were, the girls like Angelica, Janet, Issa, like we traveled the world together, like
oh
literally. And like events and the fans, it was, oh my God, so much fun. And photo shoots, and it's surreal. When I lived and I
yeah.
went through that so young, I'm like, I miss it. I miss
Yeah.
how the girls were to get together, and it was so much fun, Phoebe. I mean, we
That's
kind of
so
had a
fun.
glimpse of that when we were with HD together.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's also very helpful because the GAT girls, it was like me, Janet, and Angelica. So like it was our three of us,
Yeah.
and that
That's
was
your
really dope. It was a
thing.
really good time.
That's
And
so fun.
such good human beings, you know? And
Yeah.
yeah. But
I love
that was
that.
the it's like a weird experience, but you is like fucking scary as shit.
Yeah, mine's like the worst thing to ever happen to anyone. Like yours is like a fun experience. Mine's like, terrible, absolutely terrible. But I mean,
So
like I
scary.
said, it happened. Like those types of things, even if it's a bad experience, they happen. All you got to do from there is just move forwards and just kind of learn to be
Yeah.
better and like make sure obviously it doesn't happen again. Like it was a one-off for me. It didn't. It's never happened again. I've never felt that backstage back there again. Also, that was another thing as well. They had like the lights, like like flickering lights and stuff, like the strobe
Oh my
lights on
god.
stage. So and like they were pointing behind us and also at us. So they were like coming from two different directions. I remember
That's
that, and I remember there
awful.
was like yeah. So I
Are
remember
you
it. I think
kidding?
yeah. So it was hard. So I mean, again, it was a long time ago, and again, they've definitely I don't see that at many shows at all, like now. But I think it wasn't during like the whole time, but it was like during individuals and then like a little bit of comparisons. So it
Yeah.
was a lot. It was a lot. So, but I mean, yeah, those are our first times. I mean, we've obviously got more, but obviously we've already at 1 minute, 1 hour and 25 into this. Do you want to do one more?
Yeah, one more and then we cap it
Okay.
off.
Okay. So I've got like, there's two.
The
I mean,
juiciest.
huh? The easiest. The easiest. Um,
Juiciest.
the what? Oh,
Juiciest.
juiciest. Okay, well, the first time we ever got drunk. If that's a real, if that's a juicy one.
We stayed like bodybuilding like all the way
I
through to
know.
right now.
I
Very
know.
good, very
No,
good.
drunk. Um, I mean, the first time I got drunk was like 16. Not gonna lie.
Do you
The first time I
remember?
got drunk was like I vaguely remember. I remember getting, I say drunk on like a bottle of wine when I was like 16
On
years
wine?
old. Yeah, and it was like it costs like in the UK you can get something called Lambrini, and it's like the cheapest of cheap gross wine that you can get. But obviously I was like young, didn't have a job at that time, so like well I had a job, obviously not much money at 16 years old, and it literally I don't know back then it cost like what like probably like £4, £5, which in dollars is like $3 or something like that. Like it's ridiculous, ridiculously cheap. So I remember getting drunk off that, and I remember coming home and like being like, my parents were like, "Where have you been?" And I'm like, "Nowhere. Like I've just been to my friends." Like secretly knowing, like, "Haha, I'm drunk." Like nothing really that special, to be fair. But I remember those feelings like when you've had obviously a bit to drink and your parents didn't know. I'd feel like on top of the world for some reason, like, haha, I'm lying. Like, as in, like, you don't know. And then realizing, like, I spoke to my dad obviously in recent times, like now, and I'm like, did you ever know that I was like drunk? He's like, yes. Like, you think you're being so sneaky? Like, oh my God, like, they don't know. They have no clue. And he's like, yeah, we knew. Like, we just let you, like, not let you do it, but like, just like, what can you do at that point if you've already been like drinking or whatever?
Yeah, I
He's
mean you're
like,
coming back home, you know? I think
yeah.
that's
So it was
that's
quite
what parents
funny.
want.
Yeah,
On
exactly. It's quite
wine
funny.
though. From
I
all the
know.
things, wine.
I
No.
know. It
I
was not, and it's not nice either. It tastes disgusting. If anyone's from the UK and has had it before, I mean, I personally hate it. It just doesn't, it's not nice. But yeah, that was my first experience. I mean, what about
no,
yours?
I got drunk on gin the first time.
Oh my God, you're hardcore. Fuck.
I don't know. I don't even know where I got that.
Probably
16
from like your
too.
parents, I think. Because I used to steal, like, not
No,
steal. I feel
my
like,
my parents are like they like Kahlua, Baileys. They love like good
ah,
wine.
yeah,
My parents do those like little fancy like drinks and stuff. You know, they
yeah,
don't. Mom would get margaritas, like when we would go out. I
yeah.
don't think I got
Mm,
anything alcoholic. I didn't get from my parents. Trust me. Anything
yeah,
like drugs, alcohol, like cursing, not from my parents at all.
yeah.
So
You're
I
like,
don't know
nope,
where I got
nothing.
that,
Yeah.
but we got hella wasted. So
That's
drunk,
so
Phoebe.
funny.
But
Really?
after that, yeah, and yeah, after that, it led to a couple more
A couple more
situations
times.
because I'm very funny when I drink.
Love
Like
that.
I'm such a good drinking buddy. Like I
Really?
haven't
I've
drank in a
never
long
actually seen
time.
you drunk. I haven't seen you
No,
drunk
we
ever
haven't. But
before.
imagine us, how much we vibed at like
Oh my God, we'd be so
Vegas.
funny.
But
We'd be
we just
so
like
funny.
imagine just like one drink. Like we weren't even drunk. Imagine us wasted that day. We would have so much fun, Phoebe. Like I'm a very fun person to drink with. But what happened is that oh my God, I started going out really, really quick, like 17 years old. Like I
Really?
had my car, I was, the driver. So we were a group of like 7 girls, like always kind of together. And we would go out kind of like at the same bar, which is like something that you should never do, like
Yeah.
4 times a week, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and
Four
Sunday.
times?
And we would just, it was winter, we'd just like go and like pass the line. They would let us in. We would have a bottle. Phoebe, on the bars, drinking, like how they have the things that open like this,
Oh my
open my mouth
God.
on the table. But girl, the best times of my life. Like, but
Yeah,
it
they're
lasted, I don't even think, I think
fun.
it lasted maybe half a year, because after that, I started bodybuilding and I went out
Mm.
twice not being drunk, and I saw other girls getting drunk like we were,
Yeah, and you're like, this
because we
isn't
kind of
it.
led to that kind of like girls. And I was like, did I ever look like that? Holy
You kind of
crap.
like see yourself. It's like
I
when you
saw
see yourself
myself, and that
drunk.
was the biggest turnoff in my entire life, and I never
Yeah.
stepped foot into that place ever again.
Yeah. It's like when you
Ever
see
again.
yourself a bit drunk and you're like, oh, that's not the one. Like you don't look at your brightest hour right now.
Oh
So
my God.
maybe
I
it's
was
not the
like,
one.
no, nope. So that was the last time. And then I started my bodybuilding, and from those 7 friends, we just I just kept in touch with one of them
Yeah.
from
That's
that, because I
crazy.
was like, I'm a good, really good drinking buddy, but that's all they were doing. And it's normal. They're
Yeah.
17 years old,
No,
like
of course.
17, and then you turn 18, they have legal age. Um, but yeah, we had a good time that time.
That's
But
good though.
I was a
Like,
sneaky, like I was so sneaky. Ugh, my
yeah.
God. Sneaky, but
You
so,
were
oh my God.
sneaky.
My parents are like anti like drugs and all these things, right? So like
Yeah.
I remember more. I don't remember so much of the first time I got drunk. I do remember a little bit, but I more remember like the first time I smoked weed, and I had to come back home,
Really?
and I
Oh
had
my
to
God,
come
I
back
bet that was
home,
so
and I'm
bad.
like, I think I walked back home like miles. Like miles. To this day, I'm like, I don't even know. Like, how was that safe? There's no other country I could have done that without being like abducted. It was so late at night, and
Oh my
I
God.
like I was like I refused to spend money. I was like, I can walk. I went back to my house,
That's
and
such a thing I would do as well.
I had a deodorant in my purse. I didn't have any perfume. But I was like, if my mom wakes up, she's gonna smell. I bathe myself in deodorant, like all over. And I was
Is it
like, she's
roll
not gonna.
on? What, a roll on or a spray?
No, no, it was a roll one. Like, those white, like degree, like
You
active
covered
wear, like
yourself.
degree,
Oh my God.
but like everywhere, right in front of
I
my
thought
house.
you meant it's a spray, but it was an actual roll on you were just putting on.
a, f- a roller all around. And I'm just like laughing at myself at this point. And I
Oh
forgot that
God.
my parents have cameras in front of my house.
Oh my God. And they caught. Did they catch you?
I mean, I'm sure they saw the thing, but we never talked about it.
Yeah.
But like,
So you're like, I think I'm in the clear. I don't know.
I was
Sorry, mum or
here at
dad, if
like
they're
2:30 a.m.
watching.
in the morning, like bathing myself in deodorant. So
That's
yeah, good
so
times.
funny. I
Yeah,
mean,
Canada is like,
it's
we're
very
a
similar to the
party
UK.
country.
Yeah.
You say similar to the UK?
Yeah, I feel like it's very similar to the UK because obviously the legal age, the legal age in Canada is 18, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same in the UK. So I feel like 17, around like that age that you kind of like want to experiment with it, drinking and whatnot, and going out and being an adult. And then when you actually are 18, you're like, right, let's go. Like for me, I went out a lot. Like I didn't start bodybuilding until I was 20, yeah, I was 20 when I did my first show, and then I turned 21. So like I was late. So I was like already very much in, like I went out a lot when I was younger. So much. Like not when I was obviously like, what is it, 17 or so, but like from like the ages of like 18 at least to the age of like at least all the way till 20. And I still go out quite a lot now because I do enjoy social interaction. But God, when I was back then, it was like going out all the time. So like when you were experiencing, obviously saying like I was a fun drunk, I was the exact same, like drinking as much as I can, dancing, like that was my vibe. I mean, still is now, really, if I'm honest. Like I love a good old dance and stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's good times though. Like it's nice to look back on those times and be like, it's not like, oh, what was that? It's like, those were fun. Like you take it for what they are. They were fun times. Like times were different back then. Now we have different visions. And I think that's okay. Because I think sometimes people look back and like, oh, I'm so embarrassed of my past. And I'm like, you shouldn't be. It was like a part of your life. You shouldn't be embarrassed. You just embrace it, enjoy the parts of it, and then kind of move on from it.
Exactly. It's just about moving on, you know? I think the goal is
Yeah.
just keep on moving. People get so dramatic, and
Yeah.
you don't have to stay stuck anywhere. You put yourself where you want to be in life. That's it.
100%. Well, that was
Are
a
you
good
wrapping
juicy
it
one to
up?
end on. Yeah, I was like, that was a good one to end on, a good juicy one to end on. So thank you guys for inputting your kind of firsts you wanted us to kind of answer and stuff. There was lots more, obviously, but we kind of went in depth with a lot of those. So that was good. But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, please comment down your first, that you've kind of like any of your first experiences that we kind of answered today. What was your first time you got drunk? What was your first bad experience at a comp? What was your first comp? Comment down below. And yeah, rate, subscribe, like, follow, all those fun things. We really appreciate you. We're now currently on 16,000 downloads right now.
Crazy.
I know.
So let's
Well, I
reach
feel like
20
2 episodes.
before.
I know.
Let's reach 20 before episode 10.
Oh,
I'm so unrealistic. It's
that's not very unrealistic. I think that we could definitely do that because this one's episode 9 that we're filming today, and then we've still got another one. And I feel like it's gone up so quick. Like I feel like the last episode, I was like, "Yay, we got 10,000 downloads!" So I'm like, "That's come around so quick."
Yeah. So let's keep on
So
rolling. Thank you
cool.
guys for being so amazing and supporting our little ventures. Phoebe has starting prep for the Olympia, and I'm about to start soon too. So the content won't change. It's just going to be as interesting. But if you want more prep related than life, like now we're trying to be, like we're just trying stuff around. I feel like, Phoebe, do you agree? Like we're trying to like do like more light stuff, then more deep stuff, and then going back and forth with all these things. But if you guys want this podcast to turn more into Olympia prep situation and just really talk in depth about prepping stuff, please comment down below. Like we said, we're doing this for us, but it's always great to be able to answer your questions that we're not able to answer on our social media. And you guys have been so awesome bringing a lot of interesting questions and interesting subjects. So just keep them coming our way. And we will answer in the best of our abilities and experience always. And we love you guys so much.
Yes, we do.
See you in the next episode number 10.
I know.
No,
next episode will be number 10. This is number 9.
That's right.
Next one's 10.
This is number 9.
Woo! Right.
Alrighty.
Much love. See you soon.
Bye.